What's going on, family? Welcome in to today's show. Let's bring this in right here. What's going on, family? Welcome in to today's show. I'm happy that you're here. I am your host, David Yeti, and I'm going to be breaking down how to set up your business now. Before we get started, let's take care of a couple of housekeeping items, okay? If you're new here for the first time, welcome. Subscribe to what we're building. We're building a community of rainmakers to where we get our mind right, our body right, and our money right. And that'll lead to the correct relationships and us to be around the people that ultimately bring positive energy in our life, and we can add value to theirs as well. My goal today is to add as much value to your life as possible. So why don't you hit the like button on your way in, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you can get the latest hot fire as I drop it. All right. So for those of you who are not familiar with me, I am in sales right now, cybersecurity sales to be exact. I am an SDR, and I'm also studying to become a cloud engineer. So on this channel, I bring you pretty much what strategies have worked for me, for lack of a better phrase. And what I'm looking to do really is create like a video diary or a journal rather, to where I can go back, look at how far I've come, what I've been able to accomplish, and if I can help some people along the way, that would be awesome as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's topic. We're talking about here launching our business. Now, there are many videos out there that walk you through a lot of the ins and outs in terms of what type of business did you file? Should it be a LLC, a S corp? What type of tax strategies? I'm not going into all of that. Okay, what I want to go through today is the actual step-by-step mechanics on where to go to file your LLC, what type of business address should you get, all the way down to the registered agent, domain name, EIN, and many more. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. All right. Now let me bring up and share my screen. Okay, perfect. So now the first thing I want to cover is, why should we even start a business in the first place? Okay, that's a fair question, right? So let's hop right into it. Why should we start a business? I pulled up this article, and it lists like the top 10 positive things and the pros or why you should start a business. So I go through a couple of these. The link to everything that I'm going to cover is going to be down in the description, along with the timestamps, right? But let's check this out. It's going to go through a couple of reasons, and I'm gonna pick out why I started businesses. I've started 4. Is it on my 5th business right now? And I'll show you the reasons why I started a business, but let's kind of go through a couple of these. So the very first thing is, each day at the office will be motivating. It's pretty fair. Okay. You'll be following your passions. I don't follow my passions. I follow the money. You'll learn. You'll learn how I think and why I say those certain things. I believe passions can be done at any time. I don't go into anything like thinking about like how I could follow my passions. It's not why I open a business. You could pursue social justice, or support nonprofits. That's pretty cool, but again, it's not a reasoning for me. All right, here we go. You can achieve financial independence. Ding, ding, ding. There's 2 main reasons why I start businesses and why I will continue to start business. I don't give a damn if they fail. I don't care if it takes me thousands of tries to get it right, because it only takes one time to get it right. What I mean by getting it right: financial independent. I am not shy by saying that I want to be 100% debt free. And on this channel, I'll walk you through my journey with repaying my debt, rebuilding my credit, building up an emergency fund. That live stream will be on Fridays, but Freedom Fridays, by the way. But for now, the reason why I think financial independence is so awesome is because you can live the type of life that you want to live, and you can really be 100% self-sufficient and self-reliant. That is my number one goal. And having debt and owing people and being beholden to one employer and stuff. It's not that. So that's one of my reasons right there is financial independence. Control your own schedule. This is actually a myth. Most business owners, most successful business owners that I know do not necessarily control their own schedule. They are beholden to whoever their customers are. So if your customer, let's say if you run a restaurant, right, and you're not feeling well, or there's a family emergency or something like that, your patrons, your customers don't really care about what you have going on in your personal life. They want their restaurant open at that time. So in that sense, in this example, do you really control your schedule? So I don't really believe that this is a necessary. I think that's a myth. I don't think you control your own schedule when you start a business and become an entrepreneur. Okay? You can start from scratch. I like this. I like starting from scratch because it gives me an opportunity to build something. I love building something. I love seeing it from its infancy stage. And even if it doesn't become a super $1 billion company, I love building things from scratch. So I like that. All right, here we go. You'll get tax benefits. I'm not going to get deep into the weeds. And obviously everything that I say on this channel is what works for me. It's not advice. I'm not giving financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not an expert. Consult your tax professionals, your CPAs, and your lawyers and stuff. So I'm not giving any legal advice, right? However, I will tell you, it's one of the things that a lot of people sleep on in terms of tax benefits, right? Can I give you, I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking what my attorney would say. Should I say this? Okay, I'll just say having a business can offset your earnings even from a W-2 job. For example, let's say if I earn $100,000, right? I earn $100,000 and then I invest in a company that I want to see build and become something one day. And let's say I spend over the course of a year $20,000, right? Well, the money that I spent on the startup business, right, on product, on research and development, on the office space, on whatever I spent that on, right, that then becomes a tax write-off legally. So at the individual level, I will be taxed on $80,000 rather than being taxed at the $100,000 mark because I truly have money that I invested into the company. So yeah, I can safely get that example. That's one example of the tax benefits, right? Let's see. You'll have true job security. I like that too. I don't really believe, I think job security is a myth as well, based on market volatility, what's going on in the business, if the company is even profitable, what type of position do you have? As I'm sure you guys see, there are many different layoffs and stuff everywhere. So I don't know if that's necessarily a true thing in terms of job security. Even with the business, a business can go under, things can happen. So to me, job security is your ability to hustle, your stickability, your ability to bounce back. You're really just securing yourself. I'm never going to be dependent. And my goal is not to be dependent on whether or not this one thing is going to allow me to take care of my responsibilities, feed myself and feed my family. No, that's why you get multiple streams of income. You continue to level up in life, continue to upskill, get different certifications, and make yourself more marketable within the marketplace. And hopefully you got skills that are in demand. Okay. You'll become an expert in broad range of skills. Expert is a word that's used lightly. I don't really know about that. And you can be creative. So out of these 10 reasons are pros for starting your own business. Really, to me, number 7, tax benefits. Number 6, you can start from scratch. I like that. That's pretty much it. And you can achieve financial independence. So for me, out of the 10, 3 really speaks to me. And the other 7 are, a bit wishy-washy, okay? Now, I'm going to take a slight pause right here because I want to make sure that everyone, if they have any questions, in the chat. If you guys have any questions, put it down in the chat and I'll be sure to address that. Like I mentioned, when you was first coming in, leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel for more info just like this, okay? Let's dive a little more into it. So now that we got that out the way, now that we see why it's important to even have a business in the first place, let's talk about it. Business name. When I first started my very first business, it was a record label. I thought I was going to be like the next Lil Wayne or something. I didn't. Listen. I can really say this now. Like, let's see. Where's my right here? Boom.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Where's my wait a minute, guys. Give me 1 second. I don't see my sound coming through. Okay, so where's my sound? Give me 1 second. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear my audio. Okay, I'm good. Okay, cool. All right. So now, business names. So when I started my first company, it was a record label. I thought I was going to be Lil Wayne. I was searching all over, and I quickly found out that there are a lot of awesome business names out there. I mean, I can name you so many businesses that are just like, I don't know if they hired a marketing firm. I have no idea how they came up with these awesome names, like even something like Lyft, right? And it's actually, a drive where you can get a ride and you can get a lift, like that. That's an awesome name, right? I can name you others, but the way that I decide if a name is available, the first thing that I do is I go and I do a domain search. Now I'm using Squarespace in this example, but you can use, it's so many different search sites out there. Google Domains was purchased by Squarespace, so I kind of migrated over to Squarespace. But what I do is I go in, and some names that I have, like I know this name is taken. So I just want to show you an example. So I know this name is taken, but I'm just going to see. Say if I want to name my company Claudera, right? I do that search, and it's going to show me whether or not it's available or not, right? So typically, if it doesn't, matter of fact, I can give you another example because let me go here. I also use Hostinger as well because I like using them because they'll show you whether or not it's available or not, right? Right here, search for a domain name, okay? Let me blow this up for us. All right, so I'm gonna do the same search. Cloudera. Okay, boom. Cloudera is already taken, but then it gives you like these options of Cloudera Tech, Cloudera Support, Cloudera Pro. I typically don't. I want to get something that's memorable, easy to spell, and I want the original .com. I know some people do .net, some people do .app or .tech, .gov. It depends on what your company is gonna be, but I like to go with .com. So let's say if I'm searching here and I'm just gonna make something up, Cloudera 764, see if that's available. When the domain name is available, it's going to show you. It's going to have an option to purchase it. Now the domain name, it doesn't take like much at all, man. Right here it says like $4.99 for the first year. And what I typically like to do is I started doing anyway is just buying like the first 2 years of this. Or you can go over here to this one. And you know what? This is actually not a bad idea. I might go ahead and do this as well because I know sometimes you might have an awesome name that you search, and then when you go on there to purchase it, a lot of people buy common domain names and they'll just resell it. So they'll buy it for $32 and they'll relist it for like $1,000 or something like that. So if you got the budget, if you got the money, if this is just a name that you're just dead set on and you want to do that, you know, by all means do it. But for me, I'd rather just find another business name, because I'm assuming that, you know, I'm bootstrapping this thing. Maybe you're bootstrapping too. You don't have a ton of money, right? So you want to try to start this for the least amount of money as possible. So I like to go and do a domain search. Now, the next thing I do is I search on YouTube. So I do the same thing, Cloudera, I don't know, 746 or something. So I'm searching on YouTube for this domain name, but it's really searching for the business name. Now, if someone has it, it'll let me know. Once I do a domain search and I do a YouTube search, I then go to whatever my state website is. So I'm in Georgia. So all I did was I just went to, let me go back here. I went to Google, typed in Georgia Secretary of State, and then it took me here to this business name search. Now, the reason why I searched the domain name first and I searched YouTube first is because a lot of times I've seen to where people will file a LLC and have the same name, but the state's websites don't connect. So if I'm in Florida, I can actually, if Cloudera is available in Florida, or if it's available in Georgia, I can file that LLC and I actually have it, even though there's a huge multi-million-dollar company that has that name. So that's why I search the domain name first, because the domain name is going to be worldwide. One time I had a awesome name because I'm building a technology company and I didn't see it anywhere. I did the search, I did a domain name search, and I promise you, I don't know what happened. After I did that search, the next day I went to go and buy the domain, and there was a whole company spun up just like that. Now, I don't know if I was looking in the wrong place. I don't know what happened, but sometimes you'll see that to where you have an idea or a name or something, and then for whatever reason, when you go back to go get it, it's just not available. So that's why I like to do these searches here. So once I do this search, let's just do it. Okay, now since Cloudera is such a huge company, they file a foreign corporation. So what a foreign corporation means is they're located in California, but to make sure nobody else can file a business in the state of Georgia, you go do it's really kind of like a business reciprocity, to where you can file the LLC in Georgia as well, just so you can lock up that business name and make sure no one else can have that name. Okay, so now that we got that settled, let me take a look in the chat right here. Give me 1 second. See if there's any questions. Okay, cool. Perfect. So you follow me, all right? Now, the next step is now we figured out why we want to have the business. We done found us an awesome business name. And when you go and file the, matter of fact, I'll save that into the next thing. I'll save that. So let me go down here. Now, this has been a question that has been a hot debate for quite some time. You're going to see and hear people who say, hey, I filed a business and I just use my home address. Okay. Or you see people that swear by virtual addresses, or a small percentage actually have standalone offices too. Okay. So here's my take on whether or not you should have a home address, use your home address, virtual address, or a standalone office. My answer would be, it depends. It depends on where you are in your journey and what type of privacy do you want. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay. When you go and file your LLC with the state. Let's click on Cloudera, for example, and I'm going to just show you. Okay? It's going to show you the business principal office. Okay? If you use your home address, that means that your home address will be public information, and anyone that knows you own that company can find your address. I don't know about you. I don't like that. I don't want anybody to be able to just look up where I live. So for me, home option is off the table. Secondly, outside of privacy, the home address, as you start to build business credit, some creditors and some lenders don't like to see a home address because they look at it as a hobby and not a real business. One of the benefits of filing an LLC or a corporation and starting this business is separation of your personal life from the business. So you see a lot of times recently, some business owners, I remember Floyd Mayweather, for example, went bankrupt, but he didn't go bankrupt personally. His business went bankrupt. When your business is separated from your personal assets, it adds another layer of protection. I'm in Georgia. I'm in Atlanta. One of the biggest things in Atlanta is car accidents, right? Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but in some states, you can be liable personally for injuries that occur in car accidents. So that means they can come from your personal 401k, your personal assets, your homes, all those type of things. Well, if you have, how can I put this? If you have your business properly separated from your personal assets, that can add an extra layer of protection, especially if your vehicle is in your business name, if it's a company vehicle. Okay. So let me take a step back before I dive a little bit too deep in the weeds. But outside of that, it affects you building business credit, and then your personal address is visible for public consumption. I don't like that. Okay. Now, next, virtual office. Virtual office gives you an added layer of protection, right? So a virtual office will be in an office building. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So let me just pull these disadvantages up. Now, virtual office, I know there's a lot of them here in Atlanta, and they have like big office spaces, but you can actually, now there's different layers of virtual offices. If it's in a big office space, you can rent out a mailbox and just have the mailbox, right? Or you can have an actual office within the office space, or you can have kind of like a hybrid in between the two, to where you have a virtual office that has its own address, right? Or maybe you share the address and have like a box numbers or something. So say if it's 1000 Peachtree Street, box 75. Or you can have 1001 Peachtree Street, and that's like a standalone address within the office space. And you can kind of go in and you'll have it's kind of like renting a desk. Think of renting a desk as having your own dedicated office space. Okay. So that works awesome, because when you go and we go back to this website right here, you won't have your personal address on there at all. I like that. So I would say my advice would be, bare minimum, do a virtual address. I would do a virtual address. Okay. Now you have a little more money to be able to invest in yourself, and you want to take this thing to the next level, you can get an office. Now the office doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be 2,000 square feet or nothing. No, it can actually be like a suite within the building. Now a suite is going to say 1000 Peachtree Boulevard, suite 700. The benefits and the biggest difference between the virtual address and the standalone office is that when you go to, let me see, I can give you an example right now. So when you go to, let's say Cloudera, right, boom, and let's take this down just a little bit so you can see it. Cloudera, Okay, so this is what's called a Google Knowledge Panel right here. Let me find something that's close. Domino's Pizza. Okay. All right, Domino's Pizza. All right. Okay, so you see how Domino's Pizza has um different addresses and stuff like that. When you go to this address, it pulls up this right here. If you have a virtual office, this knowledge panel is not going to be available to you because 9 times out of 10, you're sharing that main address, and the only difference is your box number. Okay, so that's what the virtual address. If you have the office, the standalone office, now you're talking about a full suite. Let me see, can I find something? Pizza Hut. I want to find what is the store? Okay, Hobby Lobby. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, Hobby Lobby. Right, boom. Okay, fine. Okay, no, that's not exactly what. Okay, here we go. Okay, Hobby Lobby. All right, perfect. This is awesome. Awesome. All right. Now, you see how it says 1355 East West Connector, Suite 107. When you have an individual suite, no two companies can have the same suite like that when you're talking about a standalone office. So this would allow you to have a Google Knowledge Panel. All it really is a business profile on Google. It makes you more searchable. You can connect your Google reviews to it and stuff, and it just makes for more professional look, especially when it comes to lenders, customers, and that will be what I will go to after I've been established for like a year or so. Maybe I get some business coming in, start to become profitable, and I can invest back into the business. I move from the virtual office to the standalone office. Okay. So to recap, if you use your home as your business address, people will be able to see what address you're using, and now you've been doxxed and they know exactly where you live. I don't like that. Stay away from using your home address. The next level rather, is virtual addresses. Virtual addresses are awesome. They're relatively inexpensive. I know here in Georgia, you can get one for about $40 a month, $30 a month or something. So it's not much, right? And you can have your own address for the business. Because remember, our goal is to separate business from personal. And then lastly, standalone office is going to be the best bet, and it'll give you a suite number, and you will be able to get a Google profile, be more reputable to your customers and then creditors, as well as you start to build relationships with lenders, and you're talking about getting business credit cards, business lines of credits, and stuff like that. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab a cup of water and I'll be right back. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, what's going on, family? Welcome back. I just had to go get me a cup of water. Now, let's move over to actually filing the LLC. Okay. Now, for me, like I mentioned, I'm in Georgia, so it's relatively easy to file the LLC. But before I show you that, I want to kind of touch on something. Man, I remember I paid LegalZoom to help set up my first business. I paid LegalZoom to help set up my first business, and it was like maybe $300 or something. And I remember waiting for about a week and a half for them to process everything. And for whatever reason, I just decided to stroll over to the actual state website, and I started looking up like the steps on how to start a business. When I seen that it literally takes 5 minutes to enter in the information, and they charged me $150 filing fee plus state fees just to file it for me, I was sick. I was sick. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was sick, and because sometimes you pay for what you don't know. And filing an LLC in the state of Georgia is only $100. Now you can pay $100 or an extra $150 or something if you want to speed up the process, but you can get everything. You can get it filed for about like literally, I think it takes about a week at the most, right? So it doesn't take that much time. And instead of paying $430, I could have paid $100 and filed it myself. So needless to say, after I had been through that and seen that this is something that I can do on my own, I started filing my own LLCs. Now, when I go back to the website here, I'm going to go to the website. All right, so this is state website. When you come to the state website, it doesn't matter what, like where you are. As a matter of fact, I have Nevada. I have one for Nevada too. I'm going to show you the difference between kind of like how to navigate it. So I'm on the state website. Now, before I talk about this, remember, we've already made sure that the name was available by doing the search. Okay. We searched Squarespace. We looked at Hostinger. We checked YouTube. And then we did a search on the actual website. Okay. Now that we know the name is available. Okay. Well, also, we already went and picked out. Let me go back here. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Remember, we already picked out a virtual office or home office. So now that we have that address, when we go and do the state filing, it's really straight to the point. So you go here and look at this. We already searched for the business. Create a domestic entity. Click on that. It's going to ask you about, you can kind of read through that, but essentially it just tells you like, okay, register domestic LLC with Secretary of State, register domestic corporation, register a limited partnership. Now, I didn't talk about the differences between, because I mentioned there's already a ton of awesome videos for that. So I didn't mention which one should you file. Rather, what I'm talking about is how to actually do it. So for me, I like LLCs. So I would just go here, click on this, and it'll tell me everything I need. Get prepared. You got to do what you need. See the name of the LLC, the address, a valid email address, mailing address for the principal office, name and address for the registered agent. Now, the registered agent, we're going to talk about that a little bit, but the registered agent is, sometimes they have them with the virtual offices. So it's like they're charging like an extra $5 or something. And what a registered agent do, I'll dive a little bit to it next, but essentially they accept mail, legal mail on your behalf. That's pretty much all it is, okay? Now, once you go here, they do have that you can reserve a name. I don't necessarily use that. It's only like $25, but say if you have 3 different names or 3 different name variations, you can reserve that so no one else can file it for like 30 days or something. You can hold that name, but it's only $100. I don't ever use that. I just kind of go ahead and file it, and it's usually gives you an option to put 3 different names on there just in case by the time they process it, somebody else already have it. So I've never had that problem. Every time I filed an LLC, it was fine. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue, okay? Now, once you file the LLC, I'm not going to log into my profile because I don't know what all it's going to show. But essentially, look at this. 105. Processing time. Remember I said processing time? Processing time, approximately 7 business days. And I waited 2 weeks and paid $300 more. Oh, man. So once you file that and you get that processed, the next thing is that's going to take about 7 days. So for me, while I'm waiting on that, let's talk a little bit about the importance of registered agent. I mentioned registered agent accepts mail on your behalf. Now let's look at this description here. Let's read it. A registered agent is a person or entity designated by a business entity, your company, to receive official legal documents such as lawsuits, official correspondence on its behalf. Now, hopefully you never receive any correspondence for lawsuits, although I've been involved in a couple of them. They're not as scary as it may seem on the outside, right? But I like having a registered agent because it gives me alerts for like compliance reasons and stuff. So I had a company that actually got administrative dissolution of the company. So for whatever reason, I don't know what I was thinking, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac. I'm young in the game. And I remember one of my companies got dissolved because I didn't pay the annual fee. The annual fee was like $50. But what happened is I changed registered agents and I forgot to update it on the actual website. So I didn't get that correspondent in time for it to say, hey, you have a renewal coming up. So that's another reason why I like having a registered agent, because it'll give you an opportunity to get those, renewals for business licenses and stuff like that. And also it looks extremely professional as well. So that's registered agents. After you get your registered agent, or if you haven't already got it for doing the actual address, which is when you should have got it. I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Once the LLC comes back clean, and you have everything that, has been cleared, the name is good to go. Now we're going to talk about business, phone number, email, domain, and EIN. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. Please get a business phone number. Do not, under no circumstances, use your personal phone number. Don't mix it up. I don't care. If you're talking about, well, David, I could save money. Man, Rock, I could do. No. Separate it. And preferably when you go get this business phone number, you want to have 2 numbers. You want to have a local number to wherever you are, and you want to have a business phone number too, like a 1-800 number. That's going to look awesome to lenders. Trust me. Okay? So I like Grasshopper personally, but there's DaVinci, there's Zoho. There's so many different other people that you can go to. I like Grasshopper because it doesn't require me to have a completely different cell phone. What do I mean by that? Well, Grasshopper is an app and it connects to my personal cell phone, but it has a separate number. So when it comes through, it forwards through, and I can forward it through my desk at the office. I can forward it through any other number through, I have an answering service. At one point in time, I had an assistant too. So I could forward those numbers and those calls to them and they can answer it on my behalf, right? So I like that because you can also set a different ringtone too. You set a different ringtone and it can differentiate when you have a business call coming in versus a personal call. So I like that. And Grasshopper, it's not even that expensive. Let me take a look at the price. I know they got a free trial. I want to take a look at the prices. Oh, let's take a look at this. Here's a couple of reasons. So the reason why you want to have a business phone number is because you'll look more professional. You'll never miss a call. I mentioned having those calls forwarded to you anywhere you are. One time when I was traveling, I had the calls actually forward to my hotel phone, which was awesome, right? Save more money because you don't have to have like 2 different phones, and also you can respond faster. Now, within the app, and maybe, I should have had it pulled up so I could log in and show you guys, but you can set business hours on your Grasshopper profile as well. So it won't ring outside of those hours, and you can have like different voicemails. You can set up a phone tree. You can even I hired a voice actor that had a British accent to talk about my phone tree and leave my voicemail and stuff. So that was pretty cool. It was kind of like I had a real staff, and I'm really looking forward to having a staff in the future. So that was pretty dope. So personally, I like Grasshopper. Let's take a look at the prices. So Grasshopper pricing, it's not that much at all. Let's see, where is it? Boom, boom, boom. Where's the pricing at? Are they not being transparent with their pricing anymore? Because I thought it was. Okay, let's start a free trial. Hopefully we don't have to. Okay, so you start a free trial, 50 business talk minutes, say 1 phone number and 3 extensions. So let's get the toll free number, okay? 1-800-CLOUD. Okay, Clouder. Cloud. Got this, okay? And then you'll just walk through, put your information in, sign up for the free trial. But I'll get those prices and I'll put it down in the description. I'm not sure why it's not showing it. For me, it's only like $45 a month. It's $45 a month. You can pay for the year, and they drop it down to like $40 a month or something. But it is an investment well spent. Okay. Now, email. With the email, I like G Suite. G Suite email is only like $6 a month. So it's like $6 a month. And I just started with the, okay. So that's a special going on right now. That's pretty dope. So get 50% off your first 3 months when you first sign up. So I have this business starter right here. I have all of my alternative emails set up from like David@WYeti.com, business@WYeti.com. I have all that going to that same domain. So you don't have to have like a ton of different, like you see people in there have Frank John at cloud.com or Mary Smith at cloud.com. A lot of times those don't be separate mailboxes until you start adding like team members. So if you just starting off, you can just start off with the business starter. That's what I have. I haven't really seen a need to add any additional, because even with my assistant and stuff, I have my assistant, I just have her email address under the same domain name. All right. So that's the domain name. That's the email name. Now the domain, we've already looked at that. That's going to be on Hostinger right here. That's on Hostinger. So if you like me, when I find a good name, I automatically just go ahead. I go ahead and get the domain name, lock it up, because that will actually go faster than the LLC. Okay. So we covered the domain. I'm gonna close some of these right here. Okay, we got that. Nevada, home address. Okay, perfect. So let me pull this up right here. At this point, we've already. Oh, I don't want to print that. Sorry, guys. Still learning how to work it. All right, perfect. So at this point, we've already got our domain name, We got the business phone number. We got the email address. We done filed the LLC. We got the registered agent. Like, we're rolling. Like, we are rolling and we're ready damn near to build our dream company. All right. Now, with the EIN is free, guys. The EIN is free. Okay. There are companies that will charge you $50, $75, $100 to file it for you. You don't have to do that. Now, if you're balling already, cool. If you're already making it rain, cool. But it's free. I just want to make sure you understand that it's free. And you don't have to pay anybody to do this. Okay? So, now, the EIN. Limited, so LLC in our case. Okay? When to get an EIN. Let me blow this up just a little bit more. All right. So, after you formed a single member LLC, if you want to be taxed as a corporation or S corp, I'm not going to talk about that right now. Change your name or locations. It say you don't need a new EIN if you do these things. So make sure you pay attention to this. Okay. If you change your name, you move from the virtual office to a standalone office, convert the partnership to LLC, classify your corporation as an S corp or anything like that, you don't need a brand new EIN. Why is that? An EIN is your business social security number. It is a way, it's how you're going to separate legally the business funds as its own standalone entity and person versus you as an individual person. Okay. So you don't need a new one when you go, once you get the one EIN that's going to stick with your company until that company closes. It's going to be with that company for good. So you don't need to necessarily worry about, oh, if I change location, do I need it? No, you don't need to get a new one, okay? Now, how to file this? It is so easy. This link right here says you don't need a new EIN if you just change your business name, your business address. It just asks you to just like update that information, okay? So let me go right here real quick and let me show you. So file. I don't want to sign in. Okay, I'm not going to sign in. File for EIN. All right, boom, right here. Boom. All right, said it's only take minutes. So use this tool to get an EIN directly from the IRS in minutes for free. All right, answer a couple of questions. Beware. Look, even the IRS telling y'all, and y'all know the IRS about that paper. Beware of websites that charge for an EIN. You never have to pay a fee for an EIN. What did I just say? EIN is free. Employer identification number is essentially a social security number for your company. How it works, complete the application in one session. You can't save it for later or nothing like that. It expires after 15 minutes of inactivity and you'll need to start over. Print your EIN confirmation letter for your records. That's another warning too. When you file for the EIN, print the paper. Save the PDF. I like to save the PDF I save it on my desktop temporarily. Then I move that over to my thumb drive. I save it on a hard drive as a backup, and I put it in my cloud storage too, so I can make sure I have it, because it's not one of those things that you can necessarily call and the IRS is not going to give it to you. In my experience, they're not going to give it to you over the phone. It's kind of like a one-time thing. So you want to make sure that you keep up with that. Okay? And this tell you what you need. And essentially, pretty much everything that we've already gathered, your business address, your LLC. If you file the LLC, it's going to have articles of corporation. And if it's a corporation, it'll have like, matter of fact, We can just look it up because I don't want to tell you wrong. Okay. LLC gets what forms? Got it. Okay. Articles of organization for LLC. And for the S for corporation, it's the articles of corporation for the corps. Yeah. C corps. Go back one. Forms and articles of corporation. Yep, that is articles of incorporation. So LLC, articles of organization. Corporation, articles of incorporation. You'll need those papers too. So you take those. You're going to have your address, your business phone number, your business email, right? Your registered agent. All you're going to do is just go there and let me show you. Begin the application. Okay, I filed the LLC. All right, LLCs are structured allowed by the state statute. LLCs are not incorporated. Do not file articles of incorporation. We just talked about that. Continue. How many members in your LLC? 2. What state? Georgia. And it says since you're a multi-member LLC, you must initially classify you as a partnership, blah, 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 blah. And it tells you what form. So it's going to walk you through exactly what you need to print out, what you need to fill out. And I'll pull this up right here just to show you. Okay, this form, just want to show you. And this is one of the forms to classify the election of how you're going to be taxed as a company. And they're saying that since I have 2 members, I need to be a partnership. So I just go through, I fill out this paper, and that's pretty much it. It can seem like it's a little tedious, but you just got to be patient with it. It might seem tedious, but you just got to be patient. That's all. And just hit continue. And once you come here, okay, started a business. And I just go through and just follow the prompts and put my information in. That's it, guys. And at the end, it'll spit out an EIN. You're good to go. And you are pretty much 90% there. Let's do a quick recap. So, like I mentioned, okay, when we first started, we talked about why you should start a business in the first place, some of the benefits, okay, how to select the name, how to figure out if the name is available, all right. Should you do a home address? Should you use your home address for your business? Virtual address, standalone office. All right. I actually walk you through how to file the LLC, but you have to make it fit for whatever state you're in. You might not be in Georgia. You may be in a completely different state. It's pretty much all states are going to have a Secretary of State website to where you can file the LLC or the corporation. They all have it. So it doesn't matter if you're in Nevada, if you're in Maryland, whatever it is, they all have a state website. Okay. So we talked about that. We talked about the importance of a registered agent. So essentially for me, a registered agent is just like somebody to accept mail on my behalf and to make sure that I don't miss important information, whether or not it's lawsuits, compliance, anything like that. Okay. And I'll walk you through business phone number, email, your domain name, and your EIN. So, drum roll here. Close this out just for a second. Okay. We're almost there. Now, at this point, you have your LLC, your domain name, website, right? Your email address, your business phone number, registered agent. You pretty much good to go. You take all of that information along with your EIN and you're going to go open up a business bank account. Now, I always like to open up 2 bank accounts. Why 2 bank accounts? I want a national big bank account. So like a Chase, for example. I have like a Chase account, and wherever I am, I'm in Georgia. If I was in Florida or something, I would go get a local credit union, Why? Because I want to start building a relationship with people who are in my community that's in the banking industry that I can start cultivating this relationship with, because eventually I want to borrow money to expand my business. You following me? So I want the big banks, because if I'm traveling to something, they might not have branches within that particular state or city to where I'm traveling to, but I know I can always find a Chase. I can always find a Navy Federal for the most part. I can always find a Wells Fargo or Regions or something like that. So I have that account, but then I have my smaller bank within the city that I plan on doing business in. It's very, very important that you don't sleep on local relationships. Go out to the council meetings, right? To the town halls. Figure out what type of buildings are going up in your city. Who are the construction people, right? Who are the inspectors? who is in the commission office? Who are the commissioners? Because believe it or not, the local election and your local, how can I put this to where you can understand it? Changes on the federal level take a long time. It's slow. A lot of times they got to go through the Supreme Court and stuff. But changes in your city can happen. They can pass something today and it can be implemented the same week. I promise you. I seen to where when we, in this national election, they had a couple of amendments that we can vote on. One of them was for they had a homestead tax exemption, to where they wanted to increase the amount that you can claim for your actual primary address and stuff. And as soon, I promise you, the election was November 5th, came November 10th or something, it was already into effect just like that. So it's important to build that relationship with a local bank just as well as a national bank. I like Navy Federal because they're generous when it comes to loans and stuff, credit cards. I have my biggest credit card is with Navy Federal. Even on the business side is with Navy Federal. So I like them, but I also have a Chase account. So anytime I'm traveling or something, I may need access to, funds and stuff. And I like to be able to go and walk into a branch. I don't really like doing things online if I can avoid it. I'd rather go in person. Right? So that's why I say 2 bank accounts, one on the local level and one that has a national presence, and you'll be good to go. Me personally, I like Navy Federal, and then I use Chase. But I have used a ton of different other banks and stuff too. And check too, see what kind of fees they have. See how much it costs for you to have money in there and stuff. Some people, some places charge for you to accept payments. Maybe they have their own payment processing system and stuff. Personally, I use Square, but I have a POS system with Square, and I just send my payments through that. And I also use Wave Accounting too. Let me show you that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I use Wave Accounting app. Wave Accounting. It's an accounting software. So I don't use some of the QuickBooks and stuff. I like Wave. Wave is essentially like another QuickBooks or another accounting system. And it integrates with, it's relatively cheap. It integrates with everything, and it allows me to separate my personal income with my business income. So I'm a little bit over an hour, and I promised you guys that with these live streams, at least for now, I want to try to keep it around an hour because I want the information to be digestible and I don't want it to go too long. So let's touch on this last point real quick. And I left this one as optional because it depends on what your line of business is, whether or not you would need this or not. But the last thing is business license. Business license or permits. Now, business license or permits are going to be business specific, whatever industry you're in. Let's say you have a convenience store or something and you sell alcohol or something. Obviously, you would need a liquor license, some type of alcohol license or something like that. Or if you have like a restaurant, you'll need like, food handlers or whatever the case may be. So whatever it is that you want to do for your business is going to determine if you need a business license and a permit and what type of business license and permit you need. So I encourage you guys to do your own research. And I hope that this was helpful to you guys, man. I hope that it was helpful for you. I know for me, it allowed me to save a little bit of money and be able to set up the business without having to pay out LegalZoom again like I did the first time, right? And it was cool going through it the first time and paying that $400. But when you bootstrapping a company, when you starting from scratch and you don't have a lot of money, like being able to walk through this thing and do it on your own, I thought that this would be helpful to you. So leave a like down below if you haven't already, man. Let me see, bring it here, right on the full screen. So leave a like down below if you haven't already, man. I hope that this added value to your life. Like I said, I wanted to walk through the actual mechanics of setting up a business, how you do it from A to Z. In this video, we didn't talk about like doing a logo and all those type of things. We didn't talk about like what type of business should you file? Should it be an LLC? Should it be a corporation? I didn't talk about that because there's already so many people who cover that. And it's a lot of information. But I didn't really see a detailed version of what to do step by step. So I hope this has added value to your life. I hope you have an awesome night. Obviously, I'm going to take this, clip it up into more, bite-sized pieces. And until the next show, next week, we're going to be talking about, I can give you a preview of next week. I can do that, right? Let me show you what we're going to be talking about next week. How to reverse engineer any goal. This is something that I'm extremely excited about because I think I have a rare ability to be able to identify what the goal is and be able to map out a course, chart a course on how you can get there. And to me, that excites me. It really does. All right. So this is what we're covering next week. How to reverse engineer any career you want. Anything. I don't care if you want to be a doctor, an engineer, a pilot, a plumber, a singer, a hairdresser, whatever it is, I got you covered. This is going to be next week, and we're actually going to be streaming on Tuesday. So this is going to be for Tuesday, the 29th, April 29th. I hope to see you guys there. I hope that this added value to your life. Have an awesome night, man. Stay focused, stay with it, stay hungry, and I'll see you at the top. Let's make it rain, man. I love you guys. Peace.